We have confirmed reports that prior to him conducting this act of terrorism, he shouted, stated Allah Akbar, and he was formerly a subject of a FBI investigation in material supporting terrorism.
And Madeline Rivera joins us now from Washington with the details on this one. Madeline.
Good morning, guys. Police say they started getting phone calls about an active shooter at ODU's campus around 10:43 a.m. yesterday. By 10:50, that suspect was dead, taken down by a group of ROTC students. So we know the police identified the suspect as 36-year-old Mohammed Jallo, a former Virginia National Guardsman. While authorities had not mentioned a motive, they say Jallo had wanted to conduct an attack similar to the 2009 shooting in Fort Hood, Texas. Jallo was convicted by the Justice Department.
In 2016, Jallo was arrested and pled guilty for attempting to provide material support to ISIL, now known as ISIS. Jallo was sentenced to prison in October of 2017 and was released from prison in 2024.
In a letter asking for leniency in that 2016 case, Jallo says he felt the need to give back to the U.S. after starting college at ODU, and shortly after he joined the National Guard. Now FBI Director Kash Patel says the agency is investigating this shooting at ODU as an act of terrorism. Investigators say Jallo shouted Allahu Akbar before opening fire.
I'd like to acknowledge the students who showed extreme bravery and courage by containing the containing the shooter and stopping further loss of life. There were students that were in that room that subdued him. They basically were able to terminate the threat.
Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shah was killed in this attack. He was an Army ROTC instructor and had enlisted in 2003 as an aviation operations specialist. The Secretary of the Army says both people who hurt were Army personnel.
I don't even know. Klein. I'm not even sure, and we're just gonna roll with it, right? We're just gonna roll with the goat jokes, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Friday, March 13th, Friday the 13th, and it is a bit of a scary show. Radical Islam is on the march. Is radical Islam even a religion, or is it a colonizing political force? Very interesting. We're going to talk about it on the show today, because I think that there's something that's going on here that we need to think about as a society, which is what ideologies are compatible with the West. Western civilization exists. We are a people. We have a history. We have a culture. We have rights and ideologies that are totally and completely alien to the majority of the world. And the majority of the world can't be an American. You can't state it enough. Let's destroy this poisonous ethos that says that all people can become Americans. No, they can't. Just like I can't become Chinese. All people can't just become Americans. I could pay a bunch of money and go over to China. I could probably buy myself a visa. And I think China has actually shut down all citizenship applications like forever. But there was perhaps a time, or maybe with just enough wealth, you could go over there and buy yourself citizenship. Would it make you Chinese? Of course it wouldn't. Same thing with Japan. Same thing with India and Pakistan, and so on and so forth. There are determinate and foreign and alien cultures to ours, bringing people here who are totally alien to our Western, civilized, Christian, based in common law, Magna Carta, John Locke, English law doctrine that's based on the Ten Commandments and the Bible. The majority of the world is not built like that. And we're going to talk about Sharia law today as we describe how there's a trend going on. It's a trend that's been going on for my entire adult life, which is that heinous and predictable terrorist attacks, I'm talking about predictable attacks here, like, for instance, Mohammed Jalla shooting up Old Dominion when he said, I'm going to join ISIS and shoot up my army base. That's what he said. Nobody did anything about that. These are predictable problems. It's getting Americans killed. What is getting Americans killed? Our toxic empathy and our suicidal immigration policy. You can have toxic empathy if you're inside of a country of people who you share a background, religion, and language and culture and traditions with. You can have toxic empathy for that. I have toxic empathy for the people that were toxically poisoned in East Palestine. That little city in Ohio got it really, really bad. We went up there and did everything that we could. We gave people some envelopes full of cash. That's the best that we could do. Okay, it wasn't much. But like, we were trying to help. That's my toxic empathy for my countrymen. But if you have toxic empathy for people that want to kill you, it's suicidal. And that's what's happening right now in this nation. We're going to talk about it with the great Chip Roy, Congressman Chip Roy, who's also running for Attorney General of the state of Texas. Hey, Alex, send me his primary results, please. Would like to see the primary results, please, for Chip, who I don't believe is in a runoff. Is he, ALX? I doubt it. Oh, forgive me for not looking this up before the show. Anyway, the man is an absolute barn burner on these subjects, and we're going to speak with him today. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. What's in your wallet? Well, more importantly, what is your wallet? Esker is my wallet. Right here. Look at this. Look at this. Ekster, and ladies and gentlemen, forgive me, but it's so freaking cool. I've been playing with it all morning. Is the easiest and coolest and slickest way to walk around with something that is, 1, bulletproof, 2, get your cards right out there, simple, easy, able to organize. It's one of those slim wallets that can hold up to 14 cards without having any type of bunching or bundling in your back pocket. Holds cash too. Travel with it. And it has a lifetime warranty, ladies and gentlemen. That is, of course, going to be providing you the best in Italian leather, right? Recycled aluminum. No plastic. Solid, ladies and gentlemen. Ekster wallets are always innovating their product line and expanding their functionality, adding cash clips and even trackers so that you'll never lose your wallet. 100-day money-back guarantee, lifetime warranty. To my listeners, there's an Ekster spring sale right now, 45% discount. You can get an extra 20% by using the promo code BENNY20. Click the link in the description below. Scan the QR code. The best in innovative wallets. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if I had some cash money and I was at Old Dominion University in Virginia, I'd be handing it to the students that literally beat to death the terrorist who shouted "Allahu Akbar" and shot up their classroom, killing a great American. And I want to begin the show by mourning the loss of life of the man killed. This is something that is a total and complete tragedy. Brandon Shah is a man who served his country bravely and honorably. He was a lieutenant colonel. He was a professor of military science and the leader of the university's ROTC program. He's a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Atlantic Resolve. His awards include 2 Bronze Stars, Senior Army Aviator Badge, Combat Action Badge, Parachutist Badge, Air Assault Badge, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Air Medal of Valor, Joint Service Commendation Medal, Army Commendation Medal, and the Joint Service Achievement Medal. This is Brandon Shaw. This is the best of America. This is a man who went overseas to fight an ideology of murderous third world cavemen so that they couldn't murder on our shores. He did this on multiple deployments and survived. He did it with honor. Ladies and gentlemen, he returned home and was killed by that same ideology, and was killed actually by our immigration laws and insane suicidal judicial system that allowed for that ideology to not only fester here in this country, but be imported, funded, and released after they claimed allegiance to ISIS. Mohammed Jalla is the person who stole the life of Brandon Shaw from us yesterday at Old Dominion University. Mohammed Jalla shouted Allahu Akbar and opened fire in his class, but it's so much worse than just some random act of terrorism. No. This is an act of cultural suicide performed by our own justice system. Get a load of this. Get a load of the Justice Department's arrest of Mohammed Jalla. Justice Department, National Guard member arrested for attempting to provide material support for ISIS. Mohammed Jalla was arrested for attempting to provide material support to the Islamic State, ISIS. According to the complaint, Jalla is attempted to provide services assisting to procurement of weapons to be used in what was believed to be an attack on the U.S. soil committed in the name of ISIS. In addition, the complaint alleged that Jalla attempted to provide material support to ISIS by providing to assist in facilitation of individuals seeking to join ISIS. Jalla, who was brought here from Sierra Leone, should have never been here if we had a sane immigration policy. If we had immigration policy as the law is written for the betterment and good order of our nation. Why should we be bringing people from Sierra Leone here or other third world hellscapes that hate us? Maybe we should start considering what if the nation is collapsing because the people of Somalia collapsed their own country. Why would we want them to do that here? Because the people of Somalia behaved in such piracy, illegality, and immorality that they destroyed their own nation. Why would we want them to destroy our country? Their ideology has killed and slaughtered people and has made for a unrepentant hellscape in their land. Why would we want them in our land? Here's the test. If you wouldn't want to live in Sierra Leone, if you wouldn't want Sierra Leone broken off and then attached to America as a state, would you visit that place? The answer is no, you wouldn't. We can get into some of the data as to why Sierra Leone is just like Somalia, just same. Why are we bringing people over here? And then when they say they're going to help ISIS commit terror attacks on American soil, so he pled guilty to this. We put him in prison for 7 years, and then we let him out. We don't deport Mohammed Jalla back to where he came from immediately. Better yet, why would we put him in American prison? Why not send him back to a Sierra Leone prison and be rid of him and wash our hands of him? This scum of the earth. We put him back into an ROTC class? We put him back on campus in Old Dominion? Put him in a place where he can get access to firearms? Suicidal is what our own immigration policy is. This is why the Trump administration can't deport anyone. They can't deport like the worst criminals. We have real existential issues in this nation. And now we've lost a great American. Brandon Shaw, who survived so many deployments, killed by the ideology that he went over there to fight, brought here at home. And this, of course, tracks with all of the recent news. 5, you can count them, 5 Islamic jihadist terror attacks in the last few weeks. We had 2 planes. We had 1 plane and 1 entire airport that had to be shut down because of bomb threats. Right here, here's your diversity is your strength threat. Panic as Southwest flight diverted because a Muslim young man passenger kept screaming, "I'm going to blow up the plane." We've had the ISIS bomb-throwing IED teen terrorists in New York City. We had Mohammed Jawa at Old Dominion yesterday. And then up north in Michigan at the exact same time, Ayman Mohammed, who attacked a synagogue. To cap it all off, of course, we have the Senegalese man in his property of Allah sweatshirt that shot up a bar in Texas and killed 3 Texans. So count them. This is your religion of peace. No, it's not. It's not a religion of peace. Climb, pop up my window, please. What is this? Sharia law. What is Sharia law? Let's go ahead and real quickly jump in here and see why should we be concerned? Why should we ban anybody who practices this from coming to the West, or any nations that practice Sharia law from coming to the West? Sharia law, derived from the Quran, Hadith, and scholarly interpretations, encompasses ethical, moral, and legal guidelines for Muslims. Its application varies widely across countries and sects, so I'm not saying that all of it is the same, but it is practiced widely, and controversy arises, certain interpretations in conflict with Western values. Oh, what are those? Let's see. Punishments, corporal and capital. These are fixed punishments for specific crimes in violations of God's rights, such as theft, amputation of hand, adultery, stoning and lashing, blasphemy, potential death. So, by the way, this is antithetical right here to the First Amendment, just on its face. Blasphemy, instant death. Critics argue that these draconian and inhuman by modern standards. Proponents note strict evidentiary requirements. Oh, wow, eyewitnesses. But this is in practice in Saudi Arabia and other places around the world. Gender-related provisions. Aspects like unequal inheritance and polygamy. Men can marry up to 4 wives in certain conditions. Divorce rights, where a husband can just unilaterally divorce, frequently criticized. Mandatory dress codes, such as the hijab, and restrictions of women in education, employment, and custody of children. Okay. Some interpretations also permit female genital mutilation and child brides. Punishment for blasphemy, apostasy, and homosexuality. Traditional views may prescribe death for leaving Islam or criticizing religion, blasphemy, seen as threats to religious freedom. Similarly, interpretations call for severe penalties, including death, for same-sex relations in conflict with alphabet rights. Interesting. It's amazing that I, with a conservative and right-wing and America First podcast here, is the one critical of this. Seems like legitimately everything in this list countervails the left's doctrine for our society, even more than it controverts mine. Religious intolerance. Here we go. And supremacist. Critics point to perceived favoritism towards Muslims in legal matters, such as different treatments of non-Muslims in testimony and in taxes. This is something that is completely and totally common in Muslim countries. Christians are treated as slaves, effectively, if they're even kept alive at all. Intolerance of other faith. This fuels accusations that Sharia promotes supremacist ideologies incompatible with secularism and pluralism. Sharia, in many Muslim-majority countries, is blended with civil law or limited personal matters like marriage. Sharia is used to say that Islam is, of course, the only true religion, and that all other religions and people who practice them are inferior. So there's your, like, just very base reading of Sharia law. And then you wonder why there are so many attacks. Well, if you take somebody from this worldview system and you put them into our Western liberalized democracy, what you are going to have is an absolute breakdown of the civil order. And that's what we are seeing right now at scale. In my recollection of Muslim terror attacks, don't forget last November 2025, when an Afghan national who we brought to this country, by the way, all of these terrorists are imported to this country, he shot up a bunch of National Guards members and standing on the street in Washington, D.C. This individual, you almost had it there, Klein. This individual killed a National Guards member just standing on the street. Donald Trump just awarded the Purple Heart to the other young man from West Virginia who was shot and nearly murdered in Afghan national Ramola Lankwal, brought here by your tax dollars. Trained by the CIA, by the way, to be a part of a murder squad in Afghanistan and to kill at will. And that's exactly what he did. So I'm telling you, I've had enough. The entire nation's had a bellyful here. I am sickened by what's happened to our country. And when will enough be enough? I believe that we need to simply go back to the letter of the American Immigration Code, which is that all immigration should be for the good order and to the benefit of the American people. Slaughtering us, our children, in the streets, rampaging through and killing our veterans, and then rampaging through a school in Michigan yesterday was another importee, Ayman Muhammad, who took his car that was filled with explosives and slammed it through a school. It was a synagogue school, obviously targeting those of the Jewish faith, shot from the vehicle as he drove down the hallways of a Michigan synagogue. This is a legal immigrant from Lebanon. Again, want to do a massive shout out to those who stopped this from being a much deadlier attack. A guard inside of the school was able to kill Muhammad dead before he was able to light off his IEDs inside of his car in this synagogue attack. We are reaping now the benefits. I say that coldly and curtly. We are reaping the horrors, the untold man-made horrors of being in a country with suicidal empathy, immigration laws that are designed to kill us. There's a reason why the Tower of Babel story is real, and it's real to this very day. There are cultures that are incompatible with the West. I didn't make it that way. I didn't make all the regions of the world. I'm just giving you the absolute coldest of takes. That you cannot have Sharia law in this nation. Not everybody deserves to be American. In fact, most people cannot be Americans based on the traditions from which they come, the nations from which they come, and you don't want most people to become Americans. And we are seeing the atrocious reality of a world where we don't live with that understanding. The absolute principle of our immigration system remains for the good order of America. Nobody has ever explained to me or to you why we need so many people from Sierra Leone or Somalia or Senegal here. No one's ever taken the time to explain that decision, because it was a decision and it probably cost us hundreds of millions of dollars to bring every Somali over here. They can't get here by themselves. We have to do it for them. And the blood is on the hands of the politicians who allowed for this to happen. I do want to give, again, a massive shout out to the students and to the security guards who took instant action. In Texas, the security guards were able to kill Property of Allah in 57 seconds. The students teamed up when Mohammed Jallah went in at Old Dominion University and started shooting. The students teamed up and beat his ass to death. Here we go.
How was he deceased?
There were students who were in that room that subdued him and rendered him no longer alive. I don't know how else to say it, but they basically were able to terminate the threat.
So he was not shot?
He was not shot.
He shot 3 people?
Correct. We have information that he shot 3 people.
The one that went to Virginia?
He shot 3 people, and those people whom he shot got up, got out, according to the police report, their own knives that they were carrying, pretty commonplace, and took care of it. Yeah, God bless these ROTC members. And again, God bless the security guard inside of the synagogue who stopped the attack. Do we have any confirmation as to who did that? Who stopped the attack? Yeah. I'm pretty sure ALX had it. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if I were to give a gold medal for stopping terrorist attacks, it would certainly go to these Old Dominion students and the security guard inside of the synagogue in Michigan. The best that I got is actually advice on gold. Advantage Gold is who has helped me sort of grab that gold at all-time highs. It's something that many people, millions across America, are cashing in on a ripping gold market. Markets, of course, we are in a kangaroo market where a lot of things are just going up and down. Ladies and gentlemen, get in with gold. Advantage Gold is one of America's #1 rated precious metals companies. Here's how to get started. Text Advantage Gold by texting Benny to 85545 right now. That's BENNY to 85545, and you'll instantly get a free gold kit. Don't wait while the rally keeps breaking records. Text Benny to 85545 right now and seize your golden era moment. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us to talk about all of this is the great congressman from the state of Texas, Chip Roy, who we are going to be congratulating him on his soon-to-be victory as the Attorney General of the state of Texas. Big problems ahead for Chip. Let's talk about it. Chip, welcome back to the show.
Benny, great to be with you.
What's going on, man? I say big problems ahead just because, like, we see the maps of what's going on in Texas, and we see that there's the most mosques being built in any place on earth are being built in Texas. And so, as Attorney General, you're going to have to be in charge of securing your state and keeping your state, Texas, and safe. Obviously, one of the deadly terrorist attacks that struck the country happened in Austin. How are you going to be doing that, Congressman?
Yeah, Benny, great to be on. First of all, obviously, praying for the victims of these terrorists around the country and thanking the great heroes like you just described at Old Dominion, the cops here in Austin that went after the property of a log terrorist. And this stuff's going to keep happening. And it's been happening on steroids the last 2 weeks. This country has failed its people from top to bottom. Its leadership has failed its people by importing terrorists, 4.5 million people from majority Muslim countries since 9/11. No rational or sane country would do that. And this is something some of us have been screaming from the mountaintops for a while. Since I've been in Congress, since before I was in Congress, I've been fighting legal immigration. Republicans for too long have said, oh, well, we got to close the border and stop illegal immigration. But I am a champion of legal immigration. And we ended up with the SIV program. And we ended up with diversity visas. And we ended up with chain migration. And we ended up bringing people from all corners of the world, regardless of doing any vetting whatsoever about their adherence to Sharia law, which you just described, or anything else with respect to their who they're going to actually pledge their allegiance to. And we know it, and we're seeing it right now unfold. So as Attorney General, I will build off of what I've been doing in Congress, right? I introduced the CARE bill to defund or take away their tax benefits. I introduced the PAUSE Act to pause all immigration until we fix our system, especially the other bill that I introduced, vetting people for adherence to Sharia law, which, by the way, is the vast majority of Muslims. We have to be honest here. We can't beat around the bush. We can be legalistic. We can be, importantly, defensive of the First Amendment. You can believe what you want to believe, but what you cannot believe, what you cannot profess, is something that is diametrically opposed to the Declaration, Constitution, the rule of law. And if your motive is undermining Western civilization, which is the motive of the Islamist, the motive of the Muslim Brotherhood, then that is something we must stop. So I'm going to continue to call for it. Pause it all. I applaud the president for pausing immigration from a good number of countries. We need to be much more robust. We need to codify that pause. We need to codify the vetting of Sharia law. We need to codify the border security provisions, which right now have not been codified. And yes, we need to pass the SAVE Act to ensure that only American citizens are voting in American elections. This issue has been front and center for me in Congress. As Attorney General, I'll fight it. And one more piece. We've got to go after the money. As Attorney General, I will open up the books with the power of the AG's office of every one of these nonprofits, all of these NGOs, not just CARE, not just the Muslim Brotherhood. There are 600 organizations, according to my friend Amy Mack with RARE, if you follow Amy. There is a significant number of organizations in Texas that are flowing dollars to push the advancement, the Islamification of Texas. It's a political ideology designed to flip Texas. And if they flip Texas, they flip America, they flip the West, and they achieve their objectives, which they believe is actually called for in their religious faith. We have to recognize a war if you want to win it.
Yes. So talk to me more about that. Islam as a political tool, not as a religion, but as a colonization vector of places like Texas. We've seen that, of course, places all throughout Europe. It's less of a religion and it's more of a colonization political tool for power, and it's used in conjunction with leftists and Marxists. Can you explain how did that work?
Yeah, I mean, the Red-Green Alliance is much studied, but a lot of people haven't paid attention to it. We all look back and we sit back and we support the president while we believe and hope that we're winning a kinetic war in Iran. Complex, got to deal with the Straits of Hormuz. We've got to deal with the oil and gas. Got to deal with what's going on with their attacks on other countries in the Middle East. But that's a kinetic war that we believe we can win. But right now, the Muslim Brotherhood and all of its spawn, all of the groups that are pushing the Islamification of the West, they're winning that war. I want to pause there. I want everybody to hear that. We are losing the war that is being waged against us to come here, take over our political institutions, invade our schools, invade our universities, invade our local political regimes, and then build Islamic societies within our Judeo-Christian country and try to flip it from within. Go back to the 1991 Muslim Brotherhood memo. They laid out the case. Listen to the imams in America who are flat out saying it, siding with Iran, pointing out that they will in fact flip America, that they have a plan to flip America, and all of that funding, international funding, some of our own funding that we allow tax dollars and other money to flow into these organizations, Soros, the Wren Collective, all of those things that are pushing leftist DAs and prosecutors, they're all part of similar and overlapping networks. I'm grateful the Trump administration is looking into a lot of that, but we've got to be much more aggressive in Texas than we have been. It's not a criticism. Some people look at me and they go, "Ooh, are you criticizing Texas leaders?" I'm criticizing everybody in this country that has allowed the massive wave of Muslims to come into our country in the 25 years since they killed 3,000 Americans. And they've done it because the Chamber of Commerce demanded it. And they've done it because people feel good in their touchy-feely narratives, including a lot of soft Christians, whether they're Catholic or Protestant, who go, "Oh, we should let people in. The SIVs, the Afghans." But we don't do any vetting. And we let people in who want to undermine and flip our country. No rational country would do that. So we've got to stop it, cut the money off. We've got to change our immigration laws. But in Texas, enforce the law, stop the Deceptive Trade Practices Act, stop their blatant violation of zoning issues, attack them for violating the First Amendment because they're establishing a Sharia-only neighborhood and community. Go after them, cut the funding off, and be very clear that's not going to exist in Texas.
So that'd be really fantastic to have that level of clarity on this mission from the top law enforcement office in the state of Texas. It's something that's clearly been a plan, and it's only a plan if you can import enough people who hate America and want to colonize America. That's what's happening. We're being colonized right now by this foreign and alien ideology. And it's not something that you want to live under. It's something that's existed for 1,500, 1,600 years. Sharia law is something that is in practice, and the vast majority of Muslims do practice Sharia law, and they'll bring it here, and they already do. There already are claims of secret Muslim courts and total societies that exist outside of American society. I think that this is why the Pause Act is so critical, is because you have to actually have Muslims are about 1.5% of the American population. You have to flip the country. You have to actually bring and import in infinity more. So that's what the Pause Act would do. Could you roll through, Congressman, what the Pause Act actually does, please?
Yeah, I would. And let me preface it by one thing. I held a hearing on Sharia law a few weeks ago as the subcommittee of the Constitution chairman. Interestingly, I pointed out how Sharia is in conflict with our laws. The ranking Democrat on that committee said, well, if you try to stop Sharia, well, then you're going to say that no Muslims can come here. I thought that was an interesting point that the Democrat made about how prevalent Sharia is in the Muslim population broadly around the world. Sometimes we have to actually speak truth. And if you want to talk about the Pause Act, let's remember that where our country is today, we have 51.5 million foreign-born people. A large chunk of those are now increasingly Muslim. A large chunk of those are on a path to citizenship. My belief is, that is the most and the highest percentage that we've ever had. Go back to the early 20th century, the early 1900s. It's even higher than that after the wave from Ireland and Germany and Czechoslovakia and some from Asia and all the people that came here. This is even higher. In the 1920s, we paused immigration. For about 40 years, we pretty much had no real significant immigration. The reason was we needed to re-establish the assimilation and melting pot. And by the way, that was with people who wanted to assimilate. But the country said, oh, pause. We've had all these people move here. We need to make sure everybody knows who we are. We're Americans. We buy in. We love our country. We love the law. And it worked. In the 1960s, they massively expanded immigration. And it's been doing this over the last 60 years. We must pause immigration now. We must reassert American values on those who come here. We must stop moving people into the line to become citizens without knowing that they're coming here to assimilate. Melting pot means you have to actually melt. The Pause Act that I introduced would pause all immigration until a number of criteria are met. Vet people for adherence to Sharia law if they're coming to the United States. Make sure that we're changing a lot of the broken systems like diversity visas, chain migration, all of the things that are being abused. For example, the Austin shooter. That guy came here on a tourist visa, overstayed the visa like the 9/11 hijackers did, stayed here, wasn't removed, got legal permanent residency status in 2006 under Bush because he said he was married to an American citizen or marrying. He then got citizenship in 2012. and then tried to get citizenship and status for two different women as his wives. We don't know whether that was in succession or at the same time. He then had other issues. He had a hit and run incident. This is how we do it. We let people come here. They don't love America. They then bring other people in. They then add more people, family members. And now you have this exploded volume of population. It must stop. That's why the Pause Act is important. No pride of authorship. Let's add to it, amend it, but let's stop the flow. Freeze immigration, pause it right now. That's what we need to do.
And, it's interesting if you actually like go through and look at the books, because so many of the laws that are already on the books could be applied here. I'm going to look here over at the Chapter 2, Grounds for Revocation of Naturalization here. It says that you can be stripped of your American citizenship, Congressman, if you are a member of a totalitarian party or terrorist organization.
Right.
Also, if you are a member of the Communist Party, it says right here in American law.
Right.
Yet we have a communist who's in charge of the city of New York, who's running cover for ISIS members right now. We have another ISIS member who shot up Old Dominion University, killed an American hero yesterday, and he claimed to be a member of ISIS. We put him in prison. We didn't even deport him. His name was Muhammad Jawah.
Right.
We're not following the laws and the order on the books right now. I mean, if we did, then it'd be hard to really admit so many people from these Muslim and Sharia countries, because, well, based on Western law, Sharia is terrorism. Genital mutilation, child brides, polygamy, legal, capital punishment.
Yep.
For so many different, capital punishment for the words you say, right? Like, this is antithetical to the West. It's antithetical, of course, to our Constitution.
Yeah.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Why was the ISIS terrorist allowed to go shoot up a school yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, as I said yesterday, that guy he's an ISIS terrorist. We should have just taken him out back and shot him. That's what a normal civilization over history would have done. It's like you were completely working to undermine us, engaging in terrorism. And so we should have shot him. Thank God the ODU students said, screw this guy, we're killing him. I mean, God bless them, seriously. I love how that you put in that FBI and give us she couldn't really say it,
took care of the threat,
yeah, exactly.
The threat is what she said.
But God bless him for doing that. This country never should have let that guy out. He should have been executed. But importantly, to the point about denaturalization, yes, Communist Party, yes, affiliation with terrorist group. I would argue there are hundreds of thousands, millions of people in this country that are eligible to be denaturalized and removed, including elected officials. We should do that. We should also amend that statute to make it easier to denaturalize. If you're coming in here and you're operating against our values, by the way, one of the other things you can do is denaturalize if you lied when you came here. So if you're taking an oath when you come in to become a citizen, an LPR, and then take citizenship, if you're lying about where your values are, if you're lying about where your allegiance is, I think that should be grounds for removal. Today, we should denaturalize and remove them from the country. But I think we should step up the statute, make it easier to denaturalize. I think we should denaturalize for communism, terrorism, and lying when you came here. That's what a reasonable country would do if you want to protect its citizenry.
Yeah, I mean, it's already on the books. It's amazing. I want the Pause Act, of course, to get passed. Right. We are hitting the bricks, as hard as we can for the SAVE Act and the Pause Act, but we can look at the existing laws and use those as well, right? Like, you don't have to try and get stuff through a Congress with a 1-seat majority.
And if I make one small point on that, the SAVE Act and the wall that it's hitting in the Senate,
please,
tells you everything you need to know about why we are where we are. That should be like breathing. Republicans should just immediately unite and say, we're going to beat the Democrats with this. We're going to pass this. We can do it. We're not changing the rules. We're not nuking the filibuster. We're just going to make them go earn it and not do what, with all respect, Thune is allowing Murkowski, McConnell, Tillis, and those guys to do. The fact that we have that block that is holding back on something as simple as American citizens voting in American elections and voter ID, which all poll off the charts, tells you why we're in this mess. People like us that have been up in there in the trenches fighting. Like last year in the Big Beautiful Bill, there was a bloc that wanted to expand the SIV program. I want you to hear that. some of us behind the scenes, it never comes out in the news, had to throw our bodies in front of the train and say, no, we will kill the tax cuts. We'll kill the whole bill. You are not going to expand the program. Frankly, you should be cutting it back. But we just held everything at bay to stop where that block of the Republican Party wants to go. And it is a bloc that has been in control of the Republican Party until the president has been disrupting it, until the Freedom Caucus has been disrupting it, people that came to Washington for change, and the powers that be push back, right? It's the Chamber of Commerce. It's I want cheap labor. It's a lot of the softies in church, like I talked about, who are like, oh, Chip, this is not nice. You're not being fair. We need to allow these people. Jesus would say, come in here. Hold on. Jesus would say, love people who need to be loved. Yes, we should be very mindful of people that are suffering. When you've got a baby on your doorstep, you don't walk away from the baby, but you don't allow that baby to just become an American citizen. You don't invite all of the masses into the world that are third world adherents to a frankly bankrupt religion that wants to undermine the West and not lose your country. It's asinine. And this is what we've been doing, and we got to stop it. And the fact that the SAVE Act can't move tells you what's so broken. God bless the president for pushing it. I'm going to keep fighting. Mike Lee's going to keep fighting. Elon's going to keep fighting. Most of the Freedom Caucus are going to keep fighting. And I'm not going to pass any of their garbage. I'm not voting for their crap. I'm not voting for their stupid little bills. I'm not giving them a rule on some crappy housing bill. None of that stuff until we reclaim sovereignty for the United States.
Yeah, it's like, oh great, screw over the base one more time. We didn't get mass deportations. We didn't get the arrests of the deep state, and we didn't get any real investigation into anything that happened over the last 4 years. And now we won't get voter ID laws. This is like basic stuff here for any type of Western civilization democracy. And then, but what they're all on board for is pushing some type of like appliance bill and a housing bill.
Yeah.
And they're gonna jump right over that. It is, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna black pill the Republican base so badly. There's only so many times you can really run this. It's great to hear that from you, Congressman, that you're just going to punch back.
Yeah.
At the Senate.
My message is there is a block of us that are saying, hell no, we're not going to just give in to where they are. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep shining the light on it. And we're going to make clear. And people shouldn't, we don't want to turn the keys of the kingdom over to the radical Marxists. Show up in November, right? If you got a bad Republican, hold your nose. Well, we'll keep fighting inside the majority. But right now there are primaries underway. Elect good fighters that have been there. I've got a runoff coming up on May 26th. ChipRoy.com. Throw me a bone. I'm going to win this race, but I got to have help because I've got a self-funder who's trying to buy the election, who's a trust fund kid, who's never been in the trenches, never had to fight. And we need support to get conservatives elected. And then we got to win in November. So don't go, get off the battlefield because you're frustrated at some Republicans. We're winning. The president's winning. The Freedom Caucus is winning. Conservatives are winning. But it takes time to push these losers out of the Republican Party. Stay with the program and let's go fight and win.
I just can't believe that the Senate can't bring up just a simple majority vote here to bring the question to the floor. It's a privileged question. We went through all the parliamentary procedure earlier this week. This is something that would be so obvious for John Thune, but as we have detailed for our audience, it would betray all the rhinos. All the rhinos would then be forced to actually take a real vote on this thing. It seems like what we've heard is that John Thune is going to do a fake vote, a 60 vote threshold. Do you have any other updates for us on the SAVE Act, Congressman?
Yeah, so it does sound like what the majority leader said he was going to do is bring it to a vote. I believe what that means is he'll bring it to a vote. He'll fill the tree, which means he'll fill up the ability to amend it so only he controls it. So there's no real tough votes. I suspect that they will grind out some time for a week or two, give a lot of speeches. And then when it's obvious they don't have 60 votes, they'll call the vote. 52 or 50, whatever it is, Fetterman and most Republicans, save a couple, will vote for it. They'll go out and do a press conference and say, man, we tried. I wouldn't do that. I would put it on the floor. I wouldn't be afraid of amendments. You can proceed to it. Now he says, well, I don't have 51 votes to proceed to that. Put it on the floor and make them vote. And if they're not going to proceed to it, then they own it. And then if they do proceed to it and there are amendments, don't be afraid of the amendments. Vote to table every amendment. I do that on the Rules Committee in the House every week. They put up all sorts of stuff that it's to embarrass me. They offer my own bills as an amendment so that I have to vote against my own bill. I don't care. It's a game. Play the game, right? Go out and give a statement and say, of course I support my own bill, or I'm going to vote to table every amendment, and then table them and make those assholes, go to the floor of the Senate and explain to the American people why they think non-citizens should vote in American elections and why we shouldn't have voter ID.
I just love, I love the tactic of making Democrats eat it on this.
Yes. Make them own it.
And make the rhinos do it too. And that's the thing that's like so confusing and confounding, because Republicans should be able to, of course, get 51 votes on this. We have 53, but it would be so humiliating. It would be just, there's already career end for McConnell and so on. But the Republicans who vote against this, you're finished, right? Like you not only that, you won't even be booked on Fox News, right? When you're a Republican who votes against the SAVE Act.
And my point is to the majority leader is I don't hold him responsible for the idiot members of the Republicans that don't want to be with the program, but I do think he needs to call the question. Like, put it on the floor, make everybody vote. And if Tillis and McConnell and Murkowski and someone else vote it down and they don't proceed to it, Thune can't change that really. He can threaten committees or other stuff. Maybe he should do that, but put it on the floor, make them vote.
Yep.
That's all you can do if you're the leader. But send a signal to the American people that you want to proceed to it, you want to have a fight on it, and you're happy to leave it on the floor as long as it takes to try to win the fight. You don't have to nuke the filibuster. Just actually demand an actual filibuster.
It's something that we'd love to see, a fight that we'd love to see. We never get to see it from Republican side. And also, why would you protect the left flank? Lisa Murkowski is running, again in Alaska in 2028. Like, why protect that? Like, why? She's going to pull this again and again and again. Like, why do you need that? You don't need that. It's a red state.
Remember in 2010 when Lisa Murkowski lost the nomination? I don't know if you remember this, right? She lost the primary.
Of course.
Ran as a write-in candidate, and the NRSC and the Washington establishment supported her against the Republican nominee, and she ended up winning as the independent, as the write-in. And that's what they do. It's a protection racket. It shouldn't be. The people's voice should carry the day.
Yeah. Just really quickly, Congressman, what do you demand that the House do in order to force John Thune's hand here? You said that you are going to start shutting down the bills, the little penny ante bills that the Senate sends over. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, we're communicating to House leadership. And again, I'm not trying to set up a war with House leadership. House leadership is with us. They want the Senate to act. They're trying to balance, figure out what we need to do. We need to fund DHS. There are some bills that we believe are important enough that we ought to keep looking at as a House. We've done our job, but we shouldn't be passing Senate bills. We shouldn't be giving a win to senators who are now not getting the job done, passing their bills in the House. We shouldn't be moving, useless bills that are nothing but show votes when we need to get the job done. I think we ought to, for example, send over and codify H.R. 2, send it to the Senate, right? You remember the border security package from the last Congress? Send it over there. Let's get over to them something like the PAUSE Act. Let's get a sanctuary cities bill that we just marked up in the Judiciary Committee over to the Senate. Let's tell the American people that we're serious as the House of Representatives about getting this done. And let's not do things like just rubber stamp a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act reauthorization without protecting people with warrants or without guarantee we kill a central bank digital currency or other things. But let's hold the line. Let's not pass Senate bills. Let's not make it easy on the Senate. That's our message to House leadership. But look, Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise and Tom Emmer and Republicans, we're pretty united in the House and what we're trying to do. I'm proud of a lot of the work that we've done with a 2-seat majority. It's very hard, and we've worked hard to get a lot of things done. We got to finish strong, though, over the next 8 months, and we got to hold the Senate's feet to the fire.
Final question here, Congressman. Do you agree with Elon Musk, who just posted seconds ago, failing to pass the SAVE Act is high treason against the people of America?
Well, what I 100% fully agree with Elon is the importance of this issue, and failing to pass the SAVE Act certainly undermines our sovereignty, undermines our constitutional order. We need to ensure that we get it done. And I'm tired of listening. Look, I've devoted a life to federalism, limited government principles. The idea that this is somehow violation of federalism is insane. The Constitution is very clear that we can set rules for our own elections. It's very clear that we can And we do it all the time, by the way. It's very clear that we can do that. We set the rules for immigration. So Congress can act here. This is not a federalism violation. And importantly, let me throw out another thing out there I haven't said. If you want to save the filibuster, if you want to preserve the ability of a single senator to speak on the floor and slow things down, which has always been my position, that that's actually a good thing for conservatives to slow down bad bills. My view is the talking filibuster is the best way to save it. Because if we just keep leaving it 60, it's going to get fully nuked. And the Senate will be a majority body. And then by 51 votes and a Democrat president, Democrats will pack the court, make DC a state, come after your guns, and do all of those things. My friends who are institutionalists say, Chip, you're risking this. No, we're trying to save it by forcing them to do their job and actually filibuster. Elon's passion for this is my passion. This is undermining Western civilization. Treason's a loaded legal word, but it is undermining Western civilization, destroying our country. If we don't get this right, we should pass it, and the Senate shouldn't fail.
Yes. And just a parting shot here, Congressman, it sounds like when you were going through and saying that there are many elected officials who could potentially be denaturalized, especially for lying on their immigration forms, that seemed like a not-so-veiled shot at Ilhan Omar. Any update on that?
I think there are a number of folks that we need to be looking at, including members of Congress, including certain mayors and others. And I think that our body should be looking at what they did or didn't do and lying, what they've done since, how they've acted, what groups they've affiliated with, whether they've affiliated with terrorist groups. Again, I mentioned my friend Amy Mack and Rare. I think they connected some of the dots publicly that connect. If you go follow the string to the mayor of New York and different groups that have supported him, his wife was celebrating the October 7th attacks and other things that we've seen. I think we need to investigate all of that. We have people who are in power who do not believe in our country. They do not believe in Western civilization, and they have a different agenda than serving the Constitution and the people of this country.
That is never been more apparent, and we thank you, Congressman, for your fight. It's never been more necessary. It's wild how Republicans complain all the time, members of Congress and elected officials, give us a trifecta. We can't get anything done. We need a trifecta. And then here's 2 trifectas in 8 years for Republicans, and still so little gets done. Anyway, we'll keep fighting. Congressman, here is the Congressman's website, by the way. Yep. You must vote Chip Roy. He's a dear friend of the show, somebody who's, as you obviously can see here over the last 25 minutes, is just a barn-burning freedom fighter. You should follow Chip Roy as well right here. He's got over 500,000 subscribers. Thank you so very much, Congressman. And
God bless, Benny.
And good luck.
Keep up the fight. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Patriot Mobile will keep you connected for long interviews like that. It's great. I love talking with Chip Roy so much. He's such a sharp man, and I really do hope that he becomes the Attorney General of the state of Texas. Extremely based, and obviously he's battle worn. So is Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile's been around for a long time. They've been the longest partner of this program because we need them. We need their services. We need Patriot Mobile's 100% guarantee that they will have the best premium service on all 3 major U.S. networks. Also, of course, they have the wireless hotspots that we need when we are in hard-to-reach places. Patriot Mobile, the only Christian conservative wireless provider in America. We talk about them a lot. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny, call 972-PATRIOT, and use the promo code Benny for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Benny, or call 972-PATRIOT to make the switch today. Okay, let's see here. What else are we covering, ALX? What else we got? Got an Ilhan Omar story. I guess this tracks with what we've been talking about. Let's go ahead and jump in. Let's see what Ilhan Omar has for us today, along with the new House bill to end chain migration. Oh, that's good. Ilhan Omar's web of shady family ties goes even deeper than her alleged marriage to her brother, reportedly using political offices to secure millions of dollars from a Minneapolis health clinic operated by her sister, who married a top Somali government official. Oh, perfect. Omar's sister, Shara Noor, states on her LinkedIn profile that she was the CEO of the People's Center Clinic's services from July 2014 to 2018. Omar began a 2-year term as a member of the Minnesota House of Representatives, People's Center for Minneapolis neighborhood, Cedar Riverside, nicknamed Little Mogadishu for its high Somali population, whom do not speak English. In 2017, capital budget approved by the state legislature included $2.2 million for the clinic, which operates as a nonprofit and has received $33 million from HHS. Oh my. While People's Center was active contract pharmacy agreement, HHS's drug pricing program, so on, signed by Noor, the pharmacy lost its license and is listed as permanently closed. Oh, wow. Here we go. Another ghost company for Ilhan Omar, just like her winery. Omar boasted about getting $2.2 million for the clinic. That's fake. It's being run by her sister, of course, celebrating renovations it completed in 2022, along with Amy Klobuchar. The renovations included a walk-in clinic, fitness center, and prayer room, a call center with staffers fluent in East African languages. Look at this. The amount of money that is just wasted on third worlders who hate us and who commit murder, who commit murder in this country, who kill Americans, and we pay for it. It's insane. It's madness. It must stop. The ties between Omar and her long-lost ex-husband and Omar's sister appear to contradict Omar's sworn testimony. The body of evidence, her ex-husband, may be her brother, making all three siblings. Oh my. If Omar did not know anybody who could find her estranged husband, the question is, why would he help his sister on her website? Oh my. There's so many different hilariously bad and dumb. These are not mastermind criminals. They're incredibly stupid criminals, but they're criminals nonetheless, and they're bilking us for hundreds of millions. This is why we have to end chain migration. This is how Ilhan Omar got her family here, is chain migration. That's what the marriage to the brother is. House Conservative unveils bill to end chain migration, scrap diversity visa, and sweeping immigration overhaul. Andy Ogles, who's a total hero, a member of the House Conservative Freedom Caucus, is proposing legislation that would usher in a significant end to legal immigration in the United States. This is what we need. We have a legal immigration problem here. Andy Ogles is leading a bill that would shift American immigration system from family-based focus, largely ending chain migration and prioritizing immigrants who serve in the national interest as American law demands. All immigration to the United States shall serve in the economic, cultural, and security interests of the United States as determined by Congress. That's literally the laws in the books right now. I don't know why we need to write new laws. We can just enforce the laws on the books. But anyway, people seeking to immigrate to the U.S. would have to qualify under an expanded set of good character requirements as well. Prospective immigrants accused of gang affiliations or Sharia law affiliations, right? Domestic violence, driving under the influence, even without convictions, could risk being ineligible. Other circumstances that could hinder eligibility, that standard includes misuse of public benefits, any immigration violation, visa overstays, or tax delinquency. This is like obvious stuff. This is about as obvious as the SAVE Act, which means, of course, it'll never pass. Mandatory vetting to confirm good moral character would include enhanced background checks, including social media reviews and in-person interviews. Ooh, this is exactly what you have to have. You have to make becoming an American almost impossible. I am in favor of making becoming an American impossible. So I guess we'll see. But we're a fan of Andy Ogles. We hope that he is back on the show. The bill would reverse key provisions of the worst piece of legislation ever passed in American history. It's called the Hart-Celler Act. It's the single worst piece of legislation ever signed into law. The landmark bill reversed long-standing immigration quotas that overwhelmingly favored people from Northern and Western Europe, leading to more migration pathways for the third world. You can see here what the Hart-Celler Act did to your beloved nation. Foreign-born populations in numbers. We decided to commit cultural suicide, is what this is. We decided that we were going to destroy what it means to be an American. That's what it means to be, and by the way, like I believe, of course, in American exceptionalism. But this would destroy anything. This would destroy any nation. This is the poison pill that you take to end China, to end Japan, to end Pakistan or India as you know it. Not that anybody's like banging down the door to move there. But this is how you kill and suicide a culture. This is it. You're seeing the chart right here. And we did it to ourselves. It wasn't the boomers. It was the parents of the boomers voting in the 1965 Hart-Celler Act and destroying American demographics forever by importing infinity third worlders. That's where you get chain migration. That's where you get like the destruction of the destruction of what it even means to have an immigration system here, which is for the good order and betterment of America. Well, how do you do that? Well, who founded America? It wasn't Muhammad. Nobody named Muhammad signed the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, fought in the Revolutionary War or the Civil War, or frankly, World War I or II. I guess we'd have to check on those, but I don't think so. So what you're doing is you're simply keeping a harmonious society where you can speak with your neighbors and carry common customs and traditions. Sharing the same language with your neighbors should be something that is your right, and the government should protect that right. That's, of course, not what you have when your neighbors are raising little ISIS demons to go throw bombs in New York, which is, of course, what just happened this week. There you go. Wow, Klein, that was killer, dude. Killer. Okay. Well, I'm not sure if you should sleep well at night, knowing that the SAVE Act is potentially on its last leg. John Thune moving effectively to kill the SAVE Act yesterday. I guess we'll see. But John Thune setting up sort of a standoff between him and President Trump here. Thune saying the SAVE Act must be brought to the floor, but will not be brought to the floor with just a simple majority vote. Here we go.
Later today, we will finish up the 21st Century Road to Housing Act, the latest piece of legislation in Republicans' affordability agenda. And next week, I will be bringing the Save America Act to the floor, and we'll be having a full and robust debate. So, Mr. President, what is the Save America Act? It is a package of common sense policies, the kind of common sense policies that should get an automatic yes vote from literally every member of this body. At the core of the Save America Act is the requirement that individuals provide proof of citizenship to register to vote and then show an ID when they go to the polls. In other words, it would require Americans to demonstrate that they're eligible to vote and that they are who they say they are when they go to do so. Not to keep using the word common sense, but it's pretty common sense, right?
Wow. So compelling. I almost had tears in my eyes listening to that. It's really, really moving speech there. You can tell that John Thune really cares about this legislation. Trump does. Trump on the Save America Act yesterday. Let's go.
That in the Save America Act as one of our 5. That's voter ID. We want voter ID. We want proof of citizenship. We want no transgender mutilization of your children. We don't want transgender mutilation. That's number 3. We want no men and women's sports. That's number 4. And we don't want to have mail-in voting where the votes go. Where the hell do they come from? So we do that. It's 5 things. They're all 99%. They say, oh, that's an 80% issue, like voter ID. No, I think it's a 99. I think the Democrats have it at 87%. The leadership doesn't want it. Why don't you want voter ID? There's only one reason. Ready? Because you want to cheat. Okay? They blame it on all sorts of things. They came up, they said it's racist. They came up with things that you have to say their imagination is great. No, we're not going to let them cheat like they did in a certain election that we won't talk about. But that election was, and they cheat now. Look, we're not going to let it happen. So we're going to go get the Save America Act, not the Save Act. Nobody knew what the Save Act meant. The Save Act, what save what? Save America Act. And we're going to do everything we can. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe we're having a hard time. I think anybody that votes against it shouldn't be allowed to run for office. You want to know the truth? but we're working.
Can you see the difference in conviction there between those two men? All right. Conviction for 2028 between two men, Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance. That's what the latest polls show. Marco Rubio skyrocketing in the polling, skyrocketing up to nearly 30% probability that he will be the 2028 nominee. Marco Rubio has been on a roll, obviously seeing through the president's foreign policy, being sharp as a tack on many of the most difficult and razor's edge questions of our time, showing true grit. I'm not sitting here saying one guy or the other. I mean, I like JD and Marco and JD, like Marco and JD. Trump often floats them as a ticket. So maybe that's what we'll get. That'd be cool. But it's going to be wild. As soon as the midterms are over, it's gloves off. And there's going to be like just a rowdy 2028. It is going to be truly a sight to behold. I know we say that every 4 years, but that's just, I mean, I guess that's just American elections. We live in a very, very interesting timeline. Marco Rubio's chances are skyrocketing now that he will become the presidential nominee. Donald Trump did a poll of donors, and that does matter. And they overwhelmingly wanted Marco. So what does that tell you? I don't know, man. It tells you the sentiment of the moment. I would sleep well at night with either of those men as president. I sleep well at night no matter what because of my Helix Sleep mattress. Helix Sleep is the best mattress in the world. A study they ran found 82% of those involved with a Helix Sleep mattress saw an increase in their deep sleep cycle while they were sleeping on a Helix mattress. How will you use your Helix mattress? I'm telling you, it has improved my sleep cycle. It's also a lot more comfortable. Sometimes I go to bed with my dogs barking. It's tough being a parent. You come straight home and then you like roughhouse with your kids and you just crash, man. And so if you have a sore back or shoulders or neck, you want to make sure that you are rocking with the Helix Sleep mattress. The reason why is that they are award-winning, free shipping and seamless delivery, Happy Helix guarantee where you can rest easily with seamless returns or exchanges, and 120-night sleep trial, lifetime warranty guarantee. You can take the Helix Sleep quiz and match the perfect mattress for you. Go to helixsleep.com/Benny for 27% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/Benny, 27% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our name at the end of checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/Benny. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the closeout for the show today. And it has been, once again, a rowdy week and a tough week. I'm going to post about that this weekend. We're just thankful for this audience. We've been through some tough family stuff this week. It's also just been a particularly dark news cycle. And it's kind of given me a little bit of pause about what really matters in life and what we were fighting for. And so I've talked with our team here, and I believe that for like this, for this current period, as my wife and I sort of reset, we've spoken publicly about this. There was a miscarriage, and we've been getting through it based on our faith, based on our beliefs in what Christ wants for us. And I truly believe that God wants me to be as present and as focused on my children as possible. So I believe we're going to have some programming changes. Nothing drastic, but we may be cutting the show down to 4 days a week for a season, just so that I can be there a little more present for my wife and my children. And I think we're gonna we're working on it, but I think that's going to be something that we do for this season, just as we kind of reset, reorient, and reprioritize the whole reason why we do this show. And why do we do it? Well, for our children, to make sure that there's a country left over for them. And we believe that in our bones. And when we say it, we mean it. And we back it up with Bible verses. So we build it with truth. Hebrews 10:36. You need to persevere, so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive the fullness of his promise. Persevere. Keep going. Again, it's been a tough week for my family and for my wife and I. You know, we had to say bye to our baby. And to any parent out there that's been through that, you understand. It is the toughest thing in life that you can do. So you persevere through the power of God. And at the end of all of this, God has a promise for you. That is victory. So march with us on to victory, ladies and gentlemen. In this, the greatest country on earth, have a blessed weekend. It's Benny. See ya.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. Show come to mind, the salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.